Hi everyone. From the thumbnail, you already got to know about ki what we're gonna talk about in this video today. Okay, let's start. So basically, in my previous company, what was happening is ki, like I started working and it was an internship, and then I got converted to full time. It was very smooth at that moment. It was going really well, but somehow things changed. The managers changed. The team got splitted and all those things happened, and which is normal in every company. Like things happen like this, but the thing is like your performance and your task basically is completely dependent on the manager, because in the level of like on the level of senior, on the level of a junior software engineer, you're not capable of choosing your task what you want to work at, right? People will just come up, or a manager will come up and then give you some task and then you have to do it, because at that moment you are just eager to know more and more about the product, and also you don't have the right to ask question everywhere, right? I mean, like you can't choose every project because you don't know how it works fundamentally, right? So this things happen with everyone. I guess this is happening with most of the people who are freshers nowadays as well. Ki people are just want to take some projects and then start working on to know the product more and more deeply, right? So the same thing happened with me, and this turned out very well. I mean, like I got to know very much insights of the project, and somehow few of the tasks like around the starting phase were very good. I mean, like I was like assigned as a refactoring task and all those things. So these are the things which happened in the starting phase when I just got converted as full time. But things got changed. So basically, when after 1 year of tenure, when the appraisal was coming around, right? So the thing is like before around 4 months back from the appraisal movement, it was happening like whenever I touch a product or whenever I touch a feature, it was breaking somehow. It was sometimes it was my fault, and sometimes it was companies, some other teammate or some other blah blah things happened. And there's a lot of things which happen in a company, right? But we need to think in a way that if something is happening like this in a company, you should ask some question, which I made some mistakes. So basically, one of my few mistakes are, first of all, not taking the ownership of the project that you're working on. Second thing, if you're working on something, you should always ask a question why, and why it is required on the product perspective. Because whatever I'm gonna do, whatever I'm gonna build, or whatever change which I'm supposed to do in this Jira or in this task, wow, how it is helping the product. Because this is how you basically build your knowledge on the product level. Okay. The third thing, if you are working on something, always make sure you know about your teammates work as well, like what they are working on, what they are doing, because in case of they are not present, you should be able to take them up as well, right? So these are few things which I mistakenly avoided in the starting phase because I was not aware of them, right? After that, basically when I was working on few other projects, it was basically turned off, because for example, I was working for a company and that company got shut down. It was a fintech company, and you know about that company because at that moment it was very common that company stocks went down really 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 zero, nearly zero, and the company was really famous, and I was working in a collaboration with them because there was a project coming from them from our company. So it was a kind of a project which I spent around 3 months, and it got vanished in just one go. So this is how my performance got like halted in such a way, and there were few things which I messed up. So this ends up basically getting me a 0% appraisal, which is at that moment when I got that, I was feeling very hatred on myself, basically why it is happening to me, because whatever I did, it was going on a wrong direction. Whatever I'm choosing, it's like removing, it's like vanishing from the product itself. So it was completely devastating at that moment. I was feeling very lethargic because there's a lot of things happening mentally at that moment, because you are working hard but you're not getting promoted, you're not getting appraisal and all those things, and I decided to make a switch. So in the starting, it was almost a 2.5 years gap. I started preparing once again. It took me around 4 months to get back into the loop of main that problem solving, and that the interview capability. I got back those in the span of 4 months. We like me and my roommate practiced a lot for those 4 months, and then I made a switch. I made a switch in our company. I got around 30% hike on that switch. But then when I started working in that company as well, I got on the tech stack which got promised to me in the starting of the interviews, in the starting of the calls. It is not supposed to be the same. For example, I was told that okay, you will be working in a team where we will work on Java. But when I joined there, I got on it was completely working on PHP and Ruby, which is completely out of my scope, and I don't want to spend my time on those things. So I took some time. I thought, ki, okay, this is time of probation I'm going through, and I can took some benefit of this. Because in terms of probation, if you want to change your company, you don't have to serve notice period basically in most of the companies, and you can ask directly HR on this because you can claim it. So I took the benefit of this fact and I switched the second company once again in just 45 days, and then I got into outcomes. So outcomes is one of the my current company where I'm working currently, and this took me around a 80% hike on the next hike. So it's cumulatively around 180% of hike from the previous company where I got from the previous to previous company where I got 0% hike, and to a 180% hike where I'm currently working. So the complete journey which I've been through in the past 3 years or 4 years, I just want to make sure कि whatever things you are doing as a fresher need not to be very perfect, but yeah, you should be aware of few things. So let me tell you 5 important tips which you can add into your office life while being a fresher, so that you can avoid these things happen to you, because it can happen to anyone, right? And I made some mistakes which basically prevented my appraisals, right? So first of all, not taking the ownership. Second thing, if you're working in a company, always make sure to know the product end to end first in the first 3 or 4 months, because there is no use of working on multiple jiras, creating more and more PRs if you don't know the product really well, right? So know the product, what you're working on. Okay. Third thing, which is always build some good relations with seniors, and always make sure to review others code as well. It's not your responsibility to review others code and make some comments on that, but yeah, it's your responsibility to understand what your peers are doing, what they are building, because this basically improve your knowledge on how your product is growing. Because for example, if I am presenting something to a client, I should be able to say that okay, these are the things which I am doing and these are the things which my team is doing. So always make sure to know about the other people work as well. The fourth thing which is really important, whenever you're working in a company, always make sure कि if you are working on some project or you're working on something, always make sure to document it. For example, if you're working on something new which has not been touched from so many years and nobody have worked on it, so you have to make sure that after once you have touched it, if somebody else want to comment, they can come to you, because now you have created a complete documentation on what things need to be set up, what things need to be done on this project or in its repository. So these people can refer that. So this will basically show your potential, your basically ambition of knowing the product well. So always try to document on all your workings, all your findings on some Jira or a document. Okay. Now the last and the most important, which is fifth one, always make sure when you're working, uh, if you're going for appraisal, right? If you're going for appraisal, before even that appraisal, before the 4 months, right? Always make sure to start like accumulating all these things which you have worked in the previous year or even in the internship phase. For example, you refactored something, always make sure to come with some numbers. For example, if you improve the latency of an API, if you improved something refactoring in a backend, and in backend basically you did something and it basically improvises the performance by some XYZ%, right? Always make sure to come up with those percentage numbers while you're presenting your case in your appraisal meetings, because this basically builds some kind of potential, some kind of weight on your words, on your performance. Ki, okay, you have made a complete package contribution in the company, and now they should basically promote you or they should basically support you in terms of appraisals, right? So these are the 5 things which you should do, and I have learned these things from the past 4 years of my mistakes and all those things, and I don't want it to happen with anyone else as well. That's why I'm keeping it very honest with you, that how it happened and how I moved from it. So if you're facing with some any kind of issues, or if you want to know something personally, you can DM me, you can comment in the comment section, and you can find few of the other tech tips and resources in the description as well. So make sure to subscribe the page, make sure to follow me, and make sure to give me all your insights. If you're having something, if you're dealing with something, I'm here to help you. Bye bye.